This week's game is the unfortunately named Trump Collection Up-teki Trump Seikatsu, a digital collection of 4 playing card games. The collection features 2 card games you're likely to know, Blackjack and Poker, and 2 you might not, Daifugo and Page 1. It was released on July 1st, 1999, and developed and published by Bottom Up. Bottom Up is a little-known development company founded in 1994. The bulk of the titles they were involved with were collections of various card games or digital adaptations of board games, although they also released a few golf games and an amusement park simulation game. The company went bankrupt late in the year 2000, and their intellectual property was acquired by Softmax, a Korean game company that is most notably known for their subcontracting work for Japanese companies such as Falcom and Bandai Namco. The only game of theirs which lived on under Softmax was their Golf Shioyo series, which Famitsu reviewers called a Hot Shots Golf knockoff following its release in December of 1999. Trump Collection is an established series of card game collections that goes all the way back to Super Trump Collection on the Super Famicom back in April of 1995. Trump Collection games have come out on the Super Famicom, Game Boy, Nintendo 64, and the WonderSwan. In fact, there's a second Trump Collection game on the WonderSwan, Trump Collection 2 Up-teki Sekai Ishu no Tabi, which we'll cover in the future, which was released in September of 2000. It would be the last game Bottom Up would release prior to their bankruptcy. There was even a third WonderSwan Trump Collection title in the works, but that was cancelled following Bottom Up's acquisition. Let's go back to the list of games included on this cart. I mentioned Blackjack and Poker, but I'm going to skip over those because you probably know what those are. Let's talk about the 2 card games that you're less likely to know. Daifugo, or Grand Millionaire, is a game whose name is primarily known in North America due to its appearance in the manga series Fruits Basket. The goal is to get rid of all of your cards as quickly as possible by playing progressively stronger cards than the other players. Cards are dealt clockwise to each player until each card of the 52 card deck have been dealt. During the first round, everyone is on an equal footing. The starting player, usually the player to the dealer's left, starts the game by playing 1 or more cards of the same rank. This means singles, pairs, 3-of-a-kinds, or 4-of-a-kinds are legal starting moves. The next player then has to respond by playing the same number of cards but with a higher rank or pass the turn. This continues until every player has passed or unless a 2 has been played. Yes, rank ordering in this game is quite peculiar. The top 3 rank cards are 2, Ace, King, and then the usual descending sort order down to 3. Anyway, if everyone passes or a 2 is played, the last player to play a card starts the next cycle. Grand Millionaire is a name that comes from a taxation mechanic, wherein titles are awarded to players based on their placement after the first round, and this grants them advantages or disadvantages. The Daifugo, or Grand Millionaire, is the winner of the round, whereas the 2nd to 5th place players are called Fugo, Millionaire, Heimin, Commoner, Hinmin, Needy, and Daihinmin, Extreme Needy. After cards are dealt, the extreme needy player hands over their 2 strongest cards to the Grand Millionaire, the needy player hands over their strongest cards to the Millionaire. The Grand Millionaire and Millionaire then have to give the players they got cards from an equal number of junk cards that they don't want. Now, you might be thinking that these mechanics sound a little familiar, and you'd definitely be correct. Daifugo was used as the basis for a westernized version of the game called President, and it's commonly played as a drinking game going by the name of Asshole. The more you know. Now let's move on to Page 1. There are actually 2 Japanese card games called Page 1. One was actively played in the 50s and 60s, and in the 1970s a variant of Crazy 8s also became popular under the name of Page 1. Both games involve calling out the words Page 1 when you've got 1 card left in your hand, which is where they got the name from. To avoid confusion, the latter game is often referred to as American Page 1, and that is the Page 1 you'll find in Trump Collection. You may have seen this one coming, but Page 1 is pretty much the card game branded as Uno here in the West under a different name with very minor rules tweaks and played with a standard 52 card playing deck. For a game called Trump Collection, it certainly doesn't seem like a very ambitious collection of card games. But what if I told you it isn't card games you're collecting in this game? By gaining experience playing the various card games, you can unlock a bunch of items. Some of these unlockables are other AI opponents to play against, because there is a total of 20 AI opponents in the game, each with their own skill profile across the different card games. You've also got a room which you can decorate on the main menu of the game, and you can unlock furniture and other rooms to decorate as you play through the game. For a genre that often seems to be rushed in an attempt to cash in on more casual audiences who don't know any better, Trump Collection's visuals are really good, and the soundtrack is decent too. About the only time I remember anyone being excited for a collection of card games being released on a handheld in my lifetime is Nintendo's Clubhouse games on the DS. What made that unlike any other collection before it was the inclusion of online play, and unlike previous attempts at handhelds with online connectivity, everything you needed to get online was part of the base hardware and didn't require any weird dongles or adapters. It was just cool to be able to bring a handheld with you and be able to play a game of poker online with your friends anywhere with a Wi-Fi network. But any other card game collection I've seen released has been considered to be mundane, if not shovelware, by the average gamer. While I certainly won't deny that there are lazy cash grabs in the genre, one of the things I respect about the Game Boy and the WonderSwan was the willingness to embrace games that non-gamer audiences would already be familiar with in order to widen their potential user base, an attitude that we really wouldn't see return until the Touch Generation series on the Nintendo DS. Sometimes you finish work late and have such a long commute that dropping by the Mahjong parlor is invaluable, so why not have a Mahjong game you can carry with you and enjoy on the way home? If you extend that to card games, pachinko, horse racing, and other salaryman hobby staples, suddenly your product becomes much more appealing to salarymen, regardless of whether or not they care about capital via video games. Nowadays, smartphones have eaten up that part of the gaming market entirely. There isn't even a point in catering to non-gamers on handhelds anymore because the games they enjoy aren't going to be significantly better enough on a handheld to warrant the extra expense and having to carry another device with you all the time. So there you have it, Trump Collection. It's a solid collection of 4 card games for your WonderSwan if you're into that, but more importantly, it's emblematic of an entire extinct species of handheld game that has no reason to exist in a post-smartphone world.